Life is going to be filled with obstacles, failures, and successes, and you've really got to take it one evolution, one conflict at a time. I'm Renee Valentine, and I'm commissioning into the Marine Corps as a second lieutenant. Some of the obstacles I faced in life really revolve around my relationship with my mom and our military service. We've had to move to a lot of places, unique experiences. It's been incredible. It's also been really hard at times, and she has sacrificed a lot to get me here. I really wanted the idea of my brothers, my family, maybe a father figure. I found my family and way more at the Citadel, way more I could have asked for. Obviously, Nabir was probably a shock. My very first time in Charleston was the day I showed up. There's this constant atmosphere of trying to be better than last year, be better than last week, be better than yesterday. This constant development where there are new expectations, new responsibilities, new heights to achieve, and you're gonna fail sometimes. I've definitely failed sometimes, but it's that constant battle to just be better tomorrow, be stronger tomorrow, be faster tomorrow. It's an obstacle, but it's also potential. There have been so many different kinds of transformation for me specifically. I walked in as this very skinny, not so confident dude from across the Pacific. I'm a senior now at the Citadel, and I feel confident in my capabilities. I know I have potential. I'm looking at the brink of military service. There's forward guidance. I know where I'm headed because of the Citadel. One of the quotes I live by is, "Today will be different." It goes back to yesterday, last week, last year, anything that's happened before. All you can do is build upon it and look forward to today and tomorrow.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Citadel's Navy and Marine Corps ROTC Scholarship Webinar. My name is Seamus Gillen. I'm a member of the Citadel's class of 1996, and I serve as the Associate Director of Admissions. I would also like to introduce my counterpart. That's Josh Simon, class of 2008. Josh will be assisting on the technical side of tonight's event. Our mission tonight is to provide our Citadel candidates important information relevant toward pursuing Navy or Marine Corps ROTC scholarships, discerning commissioned officer opportunities within both service branches, and lastly, hearing the experiences and professional advice from our panelists. The format will include hearing from branch-specific alumni who were serving or have served our nation in each of these service branches, followed by respective branch recruiting officers who will outline scholarship opportunities, and we'll conclude with a joint interview with our senior cadets from each of the two service branches. After the formal program, we will host an open question and answer segment that our guests will participate in. All of our viewers tonight are encouraged to write your questions in the comments section so that our guest panelists can field them during that Q&A. On a tactical note, I would encourage all of our viewers to have their phones at the ready to capture slides of interest throughout tonight's presentations. If you're using a phone to view the broadcast, you might grab a pen and paper so that you can capture some of this important information. Just to note, this broadcast will also be available later for review. As promised, upon completion of tonight's webinar, we'll be putting up a QR code for our viewers to scan. It will take you to an easy-to-complete form that will ensure accurate mailing of your custom-designed Citadel pennant. These Citadel pennants were custom designed for these webinars and will be mailed in short order beginning in early November. We're going to begin on the Navy side of the house, and my first guest of the evening is our alumni representative. This is Commander William Lind, U.S. Navy retired. Commander Lind is a native of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He attended the Citadel on a Naval ROTC scholarship and graduated with the Citadel's class of 1991. A Naval Flight Officer, Commander Lind was selected to fly F-14 Tomcats. He received his Wings of Gold in 1993 and served in a variety of flying roles for the next 16 years, to include that as an F-14 instructor. Commander Lind is a veteran of multiple combat deployments to Bosnia, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and was deployed during the 9/11 attacks. Subsequently, he helped plan, fly the initial strikes of Operation Enduring Freedom in October of 2001. Some career highlights include over 800 arrested landings on 8 different aircraft carriers. He has over 3,000 flight hours in the F-14 alone. Upon his transition to the F-18, Commander Lynn was part of a leadership test group key in providing the entire F-18 fleet software and weapons systems upgrades. Commander Lynn is a graduate of the Naval War College, the Joint Forces Staff College, and completed a master's degree while deployed. Upon retirement, he worked as a defense contractor and leadership process consultant until 2016, wherein he returned to the Citadel to serve as Director of Executive Operations. In this role, he serves directly under General Walters, Citadel Class of 1979, President of the Citadel. Commander Lynn, welcome to the program. We appreciate your time with us, sir.
Oh, thank you, Seamus. Happy to be here. And boy, that sounds a whole lot better when you read it than it did when I typed it.
Well, we appreciate you being with us, and I know this is a busy time of the year for all of us, and certainly in the executive elements, this is a busy time. So again, we appreciate that. I'd like to begin this segment by asking you to return to your cadet days, and that might be a dangerous question here, but we're going to move in with that first. And tell us what led you to choose the Citadel.
I had aspirations to be a naval officer and to fly for the Navy, and I had an ROTC scholarship and opted to use it, to take it at the Citadel. It's that simple. I thought the Citadel would be good preparation for what I envisioned and what wound up happening, a career in the Navy, and it did. It paid off, and it paid off in spades.
Interestingly enough, another naval science gentleman in the class of '89 recruited me to the Citadel. I was an Army ROTC cadet here, but there's a strong lesson there in what our alumni do. But this is certainly a top tier location to get properly trained up. And when you take stock of your many leadership lessons you learned as a cadet at the Citadel, how did those lessons translate to your professional career? This is a pretty broad question here, sir, but in general terms.
So y'all are hearing from the old guy first. The guys who are a little closer to the fight, that's probably better that you hear from them last. But what I can bring is the perspective of looking back in almost 30 years since I left the Citadel as a cadet, and the last 4.5 kind of back in the mix working there. And what I took away, I'll answer your question in 2 ways. What I took away from the Citadel and what I see folks walking out with now, there are obviously tremendous similarities, but there's some differences. The biggest thing that I took away is resilience. You saw the young man, Rene Valentine, in the video. He talked about coming in and gaining confidence and the ability to, lack of a better way of putting it, taking a punch and being able to kind of soldier on when things were very difficult. And that the Citadel gives you in spades. You do a lot of growing up here, and it makes you realize that you can do things that you never even thought about, let alone thought you could do. So that, I think, was the biggest thing. And what I see now, 30 years on, is that those lessons are still learned, and people are still walking out with those. But I think what folks are getting nowadays is actual very intentional and very purposeful leadership lessons, both that I experienced, which is sort of OJT in the barracks, but now a far more intentional leadership program that I think will serve anybody going into the naval service as well.
I would agree. I think some of the transition that's occurred over these many years is the formalization of the leadership that was abundant back in the day. A lot of that was osmosis learned. You were absorbing leadership on a continual basis, whereas now we have the Krause Leadership Center, and there's a very specific curriculum to drive home these lessons on a daily basis. That's important.
Yeah, that's true.
One thing
I would agree with that.
And one thing to think about, and this is just wearing our ring, which is special to us and we take a great deal of pride in. When you reflect throughout the course of your career, I'm certain you encounter plenty of other Citadel graduates in the fleet. And can you share with our viewers tonight who are considering the Citadel carefully and looking specifically at naval science opportunities, whether it be in the Navy or in the Marine Corps, what did that Citadel alumni camaraderie mean to you while you were serving abroad in the fleet in harm's way? What did those moments mean to you?
A lot of it was sort of osmosis. I came up as a young guy in the days before the internet. So when my classmates and I all parted ways on 11 May 1991, which is ancient history to a lot of people on this broadcast, We lost track, but you would hear about folks with the great things that folks were doing, particularly in the Marine Corps. We've got some guys from 91 who are senior officers. We just had our first Marine general, Dave Odom, an infantryman who is destined for even greater things, I think. The most direct connection I had, I did my first 2 deployments with a guy who was a year ahead of me, a guy by the name of Greg McWhirter, who later went on to command the Blue Angels twice. Probably one of the best combat leaders, one of the finest people that I ever went to sea with. I took a great deal of pride in the fact that he too was a Citadel grad. And I got to see him in action, like I said, my first 2 deployments back in the 90s. So, yes, there are great connections. Relatively speaking to the big Navy, there aren't that many Citadel Navy guys out there, but it's not that big of a Navy, so you end up crossing paths eventually. And uniformly, the reputation, in spite of all of my efforts, is pretty good. You say Citadel in the Navy, and people usually have a pretty positive reflection, unless, of course, it's me, and then it's kind of, I bring the average down a little bit.
One of the things to circle around this is one of the early conversations you had you and I had when we returned was you directly taught one of my classmates, Chris Gasco, call sign Spool. He was an F-14 driver, and you had some interactions with him, which is just one of those cool things about the Citadel. And when you wear the ring that we wear, it's a call sign of humble pride. We don't boast, we don't brag, we do the walking quietly. And one of the neat things about meeting other graduates is there's an immediate trust and connection with our people.
Certainly. He hated it because he knew I was going to be extra hard on him.
Good. That's the way it should be on Chris. He's a good friend of mine. When you reflect on the demanding nature of the environments in which you've employed your leadership, what advice might be to your viewers watching tonight who share that same interest? They're in the nascent, part of this spectrum, but they have this same desire that you shared when you were looking closely at the Citadel and considering that naval aviation career. What advice do you have for those folks who are watching us tonight who have those aspirations?
It's real simple. Whatever path you wind up on, and I'm gonna bet that a lot of the folks watching here are in the process to apply to the service academies, ROTC scholarships, all of that sort of stuff. Whatever path you wind up choosing or that you get chosen for, first of all, don't give up the dream. Administratively, it's not easy sometimes. The processes for getting into these programs are frankly, they're kind of Byzantine at times. But remember, the people who don't get picked for stuff are the guys that don't finish the process. They're the first guys that don't get picked. So if this is what you want to do, keep the press on and don't flag in that. And once you're in it, take every opportunity you can to excel, to learn, because you're not going to have these chances again. I was really lucky my time at the Citadel and as a young guy coming up through fighters in the Navy that I had a lot of things that I don't think at the time I realized what a good deal I was getting. I know I was having a good time and it was awesome, but I look back and I was really blessed. So, make your own luck. And the way that you do that is don't quit, don't give up. It's not impossible. Seamus will tell you, I am neither the smartest guy, the best looking, certainly not the toughest guy out there, but have that dogged persistence to get in the door. And then once you're in the door, soak it all in, work hard, have a good time, and make it all happen. And the opportunity's there, you can do it.
It circles back to that resiliency issue, and Cadet Valentine, who's now an MP in the Marine Corps on the other side of the coast here. It's a recurring theme, I think, with success, and certainly success starting here at the Citadel. And you got to consider that as well. As the freshman year here at the Citadel is one that tests you, and it's going to test your mettle. You're going to have up and down moments, and that's the demanding nature of being a naval aviator and pursuing any kind of pursuit craft. In either the Marine Corps or the Navy, that you're going to have adversity and challenges throughout your career. So this is definitely a keen insight here on this, sir. One of the things I want to reflect on a campus state is we've obviously been dealing with a pandemic that's pretty serious, and a lot of colleges have been sunk in this environment. because they haven't adequately planned and adapted and pivoted to this challenge. You've been ground zero with our commandant. That's Captain Peluso. He's a retired Navy SEAL who's been leading the Corps through these elements and challenges. And we have General Walters, of course, who leaned on experiences directly from the Marines who were housed in our barracks that we got to pick up on their way down to Parris Island. Leadership is employed on a daily basis, whether it's in the area of combat or whether it's in an institutional environment like the Citadel, and we're trying to survive and make good on having in-person training wherever possible. You see this leadership in the most senior levels in your position. Can you share with us that continued evolution as it manifests even in this environment with COVID that you're seeing here manifest at the Citadel?
Yeah, I certainly can. And when I say this, I don't want to minimize what's going on with the pandemic, but one of the advantages in a situation like this of having a bunch of military guys around a table, and it wasn't all military guys. We had folks from the faculty. Our provost is a PhD and never served in the military. She's really good at what she does. So we have some opposing viewpoints. But one of the beauties of a problem like this is it's an operational problem. You're given a set of data, and granted, in this day and age, that data you have to always kind of check your sources, I guess, to figure out what's really accurate. But you have a set of data, you have a sort of set of circumstances, and you have a goal. We set our goals. You always start at the target and work your way backwards, and that's exactly what we did. And our target was we wanted to have everybody back in person safely on campus. And we wanted to get the fourth classmen, the new freshmen, we wanted to get them trained up. And to do that, you've got to be on campus. So the two were complementary. So what do we need to do to facilitate all that? And the beauty of the Citadel education and the follow-on stuff that everybody did in the military is we were presented with those problems to fly off an aircraft carrier on a daily basis. It's an extremely dynamic environment with tons of unknowns. So as bad as a pandemic was, it was a relatively, the details and the work was immense, but it was a relatively straightforward operational problem. And so far, so good. We've solved it. We have everybody on campus. We're going to class. It doesn't look like it usually does. There are a lot of things that are canceled or changed, but we're preserving the essence of the Citadel experience, which you can't do that over a Zoom call. And again, it goes back to that. What you learned in those barracks was the genesis of it all. And then what people like General Walters, 39 years in the Marine Corps, Captain Peluso, 26 years as a Navy SEAL, and a bunch of other folks with similar pedigree, we got it. We're getting it done. And that's not self-congratulatory because this could blow at any time. But we've got a great plan in place. We've got great processes and procedures in place. And thus far, since about August 1st, we're making it work.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that insight. And I think, you've answered half the question, which is that executive level leadership that, again, leans back on cadet experiences, what you learn in the barracks. There's problem solving at every level. And we have cadet panelists that are going to be wrapping this at the tail end here that will also be given high fives to virtually, of course, that they played a key role. Our cadets have embraced this new challenge and run with the commandant's running orders, and we've been successful to this point. Sir,
yeah,
I know
all that stuff I said. Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up because I was remiss. That's all great, but if the 2,300 18 to 22-year-olds over in those barracks, if they're not participating and doing their part, if the leaders within the Corps cadets, the guys, for y'all that are out there listening, these guys are 2-3 years older than you are right now, and they are running the show in the barracks, and they're making this work. And it's leading your peers is the toughest thing in the world. Imagine if you're in high school right now that all of a sudden you're in charge of high school and you got to tell everybody what to do. And that is a tough challenge. And it's not just some theoretical military school now. There are real world consequences. And those young men and young women, wearing Citadel gray right now are making it happen.
Commander Lynn, thank you so much for your time. I know you got a busy agenda. I appreciate you carving some time for us tonight, sir. We do have a Q&A.
James.
Great. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. We're going to transition now to that recruiting officer. that we have in the Naval Science Department. We have Lieutenant David Tate with us from the U.S. Navy. He hails from Wilkesboro, North Carolina, and serves as our Naval Science instructor here at the Citadel. A prior enlisted officer, Lieutenant Tate successfully attended Officer Candidate School and was designated as a surface warfare officer in 2013. He served aboard the USS Gettysburg as the damage control assistant in the engineering department, followed by a tour aboard the USS Fort McHenry, serving in the following roles: that of a combat systems officer, the ship's anti-terrorism officer, and the combat information center officer. Upon completing the Naval Postgraduate School, where he completed his master's degree in Homeland Security and Defense, Lieutenant Tate entered his current post as a Naval ROTC instructor here at the Citadel. Lieutenant Tate, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, and welcome everybody. Again, I'm Lieutenant Tate, and I'm here to answer all your questions about our ROTC program. Before we get started, I would like to say that in my career, my 12-year career so far, getting ready to be 13, I've served with 4 Navy officers that graduated from the Citadel, and they are always ranked top among their peers. So this institution is fantastic in preparing officers for any branch. In my personal experience with the 4 Navy officers, they were my mentors. They trained me, even though I had experience, former enlisted. I looked to them to become a competent naval officer. So I can't thank the Citadel enough for the product that they put out. It has given me leadership opportunities I've never dreamed of. So Citadel is an amazing place. And with that, I would like to go into the PowerPoint presentation just so you know what the Navy has to offer. So bottom line up front is something that you'll hear in the military is the Navy makes 4 types of officers, and there are subsets of officers, but that's a more detailed conversation. We make surface warfare officers, those officers that go on surface combatants, destroyers, cruisers, minesweepers, aircraft carriers. We also make aviators, co-pilots, pilots, fixed wing aircraft, helicopters. We also make nuclear officers that go on carriers and submarines, and we make special warfare officers, EOD and SEAL officers. So those are the 4 types of officers that we make, because that's we get a lot of questions like, I want to be an intelligence officer. Well, that's a conversation that we need to have more in detail. The benefits of the ROTC scholarship is, first of all, this congratulations for everybody learning about ROTC. When I grew up in high school, nobody knew, it was not common knowledge that ROTC was out there. So I missed this opportunity. The Navy ROTC scholarship pays for tuition and fees. Monthly stipend depends on your class. So when you're a freshman, you're around the $250 mark a month, and as you're a senior, you get $400 a month. That is essentially a paycheck. It's called a stipend. It's a paycheck. It really just helps students, since they're not able to have a part-time or full-time job. It really helps them meet the gaps. We also do a book allowance. We provide all uniforms, which that is a huge benefit that our OCS graduates do not get. And you can major in any degree you want. However, scholarships are competitive. Our STEM majors are preferred for the 4-year scholarships, and the follow-on scholarships are 3-year and 2-year scholarships. Science, technology, engineering, and math is key. Those are the majors that we need. And that's because the nature of the work as a naval officer is pretty technical. Also, we offer advanced standing or college program. These are folks that do not get a full scholarship, but they get a stipend. So basically, they get that paycheck. Next slide, please. All right. So why join an ROTC, especially Navy? So I have a lot of students come in and they say, I want to learn about the Navy. I'm worried about having a job and student debt coming out of college. The housing crisis was a time where it was tough to get a job coming out of college. And from what I hear, this is a tough environment to have a job. So having a job, a leadership position immediately graduating college and no student debt is huge. So earning that big salary for a 22 or a 23-year-old, you don't have to search for a job. Your resume builds itself with all your collateral duties and responsibilities for the Navy. Plus, if you decide to get out, we help you do. There's a transition course, so making job searching very easy. We get 30 days as active duty service members. You get 30 days paid leave. Graduate opportunities. In the intro, it says I graduated from the Naval Postgraduate School. Upon the completion of 2 operational tours, I requested to get a graduate degree from the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey, California. This was a great opportunity. My whole job was to get a master's degree, was to write and publish a thesis. That graduate education in Navy is key. It is almost a requirement at the 03 level to be competitive for 04 to obtain a master's degree and some other qualifications. So medical and dental, as a father of 3, I don't have to worry about the cost of broken bones, or should we go to the emergency room, or the cost of anything. So dental, medical, everything for my family it's totally been a blessing. TRICARE is amazing. So those worries about medical and dental postgraduate, those don't exist in my world. We need to get medical care. Let's get up and go right now, 24 hours a day. Not a worry in the world. We will see the best professionals in the area, and my family's taken care of whether I'm at home or away. Guaranteed management. Ensigns post-graduating the program will have leadership of 25 to up to 100 sailors with varying experience from 1 year up to 30 years. They will take immediate leadership of that division or whatever. In surface warfare, it is a division, and operate the full measure of what it takes to be a naval officer. May it be project management, safety, supply. There's 18,000 little jobs that encompass a naval officer, and you become an expert in that. So being able to multitask and lead from day one. You're immediately commissioned in the Navy upon upon graduating. You're immediately commissioned, and we'll send you to whatever school matches your designator. So Pensacola for pilot, and Rhode Island for surface warfare officer. And you don't have to go to an OCS school, that's Officer Candidate School. So the training that you get during the ROTC program, in my opinion, is superior to the short training window that you get as an OCS graduate. So they cram as much as they can in 12 weeks. We have 4 years to pack it in and repeat so that it is muscle memory. So the ROTC program really does a fantastic job of preparing you for the fleet. Next slide, please. So we have 4-year scholarships. So you should be applying for that right now. The deadline is in December. The link is in a follow-on slide. Let's say you fell a little bit short of your goal. You're still on the fence and do not get the 4-year scholarship. That's fine. We offer a 3-year and a 2-year scholarship. And again, we prefer STEM majors. So you're more than welcome to come here, participate in the ROTC unit. Based on your grades, your physical qualifications, and your ROTC participation, we have the option of submitting you for a 3-year or a 2-year scholarship or an advanced standing scholarship. Advanced standing scholarships are primarily for those who aren't that strong in calculus, which is required of all of our 4-year, 2-year, and 3-year scholarships. Advanced standing allows an avenue for some financial compensation, a guaranteed commission, but you don't have the advanced math requirements for advanced standing stipends. And Navy and Marine Corps, we are the same branch. We are under the Department of the Navy. So if somebody, and we PT together, we train together, it is a fantastic partnership that we have. And it's not uncommon for Navy to go to Marines or Marines to go to Navy once they get a little bit more information. So we do have a great relationship with our Marine brethren, and it is not uncommon for people to switch sides. It's definitely something to celebrate. Move forward. Thank you. So these are the minimum requirements. I say minimum requirements because each year the requirements based on the applicant pool go up or down. So these are the minimum requirements. 17 years old, graduate high school by August 1st, be accepted by an ROTC host school, and the minimum scores. I cannot stress enough, GPA and your scores are very, very, very important. It's very important. So, as an example, competitive, the statistics we have for the 3-year scholarships, that's people that attended here their freshman year and earned a scholarship through performance as a freshman. They started their sophomore year with a scholarship. Their average GPA in college was 3.3. So it's these scholarships are tough to earn. So definitely continue to study, continue to be successful with your academics, and to have the best chance to get these scholarships. It's a lot of folks think that it's easy. All you have to do is apply. That's not the case anymore. The military is professional. We invest in our sailors, and we get high quality applicants. And unfortunately, we have to turn some of them down. Next slide, please. So ROTC, it's a different way to experience college. So it's on top of the Corps of Cadets leadership, the ROTC has its own leadership position. So if somebody didn't get a Corps of Cadets position, they can do the Naval ROTC leadership position and solidify their leadership skills. We study together, we PT together, we do drills together, we go on field trips together. It is a tight-knit group where people know the first and last names and hometowns, and know when people are feeling bad. It's a safe network. So it's a support network. It's a home away from home. Again, we train together. And summer cruises. So ROTC programs, we like to get people out into the fleet so you can see a submarine, so you can see a surface combatant ship, so people can go on an aircraft carrier, can work out with the Navy SEALs, so that by the time it comes service selection, where they figure out what kind of officer they want to be their senior year, they have enough exposure so that they can make an informed decision. So summer cruises are crucial, and we look forward to summer cruises coming back this year. Next slide, please. Once we get into the program, unless someone is a nuclear option, meaning that they want to be a nuclear reactor officer, or nuke as we commonly call them, minimum GPA in college is a 2.5, and we do have physical fitness standards as posted. Moving forward. So again, in the Navy, commissioned as an ensign upon graduation. You don't have to go through OCS. You go immediately to your designator school. It's surface, nuclear submarine, nuclear surface, SEAL, EOD, or aviation. Now, this is your service obligation. So Naval Aviator, there's a little bit longer of a training pipeline. So your obligation to pay back your scholarship is 8 years, 5 years for surface, submarine, SEAL, EOD, and 6 years for flight officers. So basically it's saying we're putting you to 18 months to 2 years worth of school to be a pilot. And we kind of want to get that back. We want to get that 5 to 6 years of actual service to pay back your scholarship. And then it's up to you whether you want to become a career Navy person, or if you want to go off and do great things in the civilian world. There's no shame in serving your country and then going off and doing bigger and better things that suit your life. Next slide, please. So there's no obligation. You can apply. It's not like when you apply to a credit card, you get a credit card. You know, you can turn down the scholarship. But the key point is, if you want a 4-year scholarship, you have to get proactive now. The deadline's in December. You have to get proactive now to get the requirements met, their interviews, transcripts, the whole application done. If selected, you have till May to accept or reject the scholarship. You're not in the military. So it's just because you got a scholarship doesn't mean like, bam, I'm an officer. You're still a student. You're a full-time student. We need you to complete college. We need you college educated, and we need you to have the highest GPA possible. So military service doesn't start until, so basically this is saying you have this point and the next point you are geared towards, I made a mistake as a freshman. I don't want to be in the military. Well, that's no harm, no foul. Once you accept the scholarship for the second year, this is for 4-year scholarships, That's when it becomes real. There's if you do not meet the commitments, you have to pay it back, and there's details on that are on the website. Moving forward. So if you think you're competitive, just go ahead and apply. So you have to apply. Pat Riley said you have to be present to win. So go ahead and put in that application. And if you don't get accepted, you have a 2-year, you have a 3-year option. You can earn a scholarship. We are here to help you earn a scholarship, earn a commission. And I say that's very important because people can graduate and go to OCS. There's a different set of requirements for OCS. So it is very competitive to get into OCS. Then that, instead of going off your high school GPA or your current college performance, it goes off your cumulative college GPA, and it can be pretty competitive post-college to earn a commission and go through OCS. So I encourage everybody to, if you attend the Citadel and you have an interest in a ROTC, apply. If you don't make it the first time, try a second time, try a third time, exhaust all measures. So we're focused on your education. Graduation is key. We're focused on your officer development, and I'm standing by to take any questions.
Lieutenant, we appreciate that informative presentation there. There's a lot of information. One thing I want to bring up is that we also have a supplemental allotment that's put forward by the Citadel. Thanks, Josh. This comes in the form of it comes in the amount of $3,500. And this is designated for all of our incoming 4- and 3-year ROTC scholarship designees across all of these service branches. These Armed Forces Supplemental Scholarships are brought to you by the Citadel, as well as our Alumni Association. They've contributed $250,000, $250,000 a year to this end. So this is important to note. This is one of those moments for you. Hopefully you've been taking some pictures of the important slides, but for all those people who do pick up a 3- and 4-year scholarship coming to the Citadel, there's an automatic $3,500 Armed Forces Supplemental Scholarship that's brought to you by the Alumni Association as well as the Citadel to help facilitate that journey. The Citadel, the top 8 recipients of that, competitively speaking, will pick up a $7,500 allocation per year. So this is important to note, and it demonstrates again that alumni commitment to serving the college and ultimately helping our cadets be successful here at the Citadel. We're going to go ahead and prepare to transition into the Marine Corps components of tonight's events. But I think an important moment to kind of pause for a moment and kind of take stock on what we've been talking about. There's some underlying themes. You've been hearing from a retired officer, and you've been hearing from the recruiting officer staff here at the Naval Science Department here at the Citadel talking about naval opportunities. But there's underlying elements. You have to be committed. You have to be resilient, and you have to be selfless. You have to give yourself to the teammates around you. One of the things I think about is the Citadel's President, General Walters, and he simply summarized it as this: grit. Welcome back, folks. We're now going to pivot to the Marine side of the house with our next alumni guest. We have Second Lieutenant Noah Harvey Fonville, a member of the Citadel's class of 2019. He is the youngest of 5 children and hails from Suffern, New York. He graduated from the Citadel with a bachelor's degree in civil and environmental engineering. And just so our viewers know, the Citadel's engineering department is ranked 17th nationally. Lieutenant, welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir. It's a privilege.
We appreciate you coming in at us. You're in Camp Lejeune right now. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, I am.
Outstanding. And are you in a training evolution right now?
So currently I'm not. So my platoon just got back from a deployment. They're currently with Victor 3-2.
Outstanding. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
when I was reviewing your bio, we try to do our homework over here in admissions. And when I was reviewing your professional background, I see that you're honing your skills. You indicated a desire to become an MAGTF engineer. For
Yes,
our
sir.
viewers, tell our viewers what that means.
So a MAGTF engineer, to become a MAGTF engineer, you kind of have to understand what a MAGTF is. It stands for Marine Air Ground Task Force. It's essentially how the Marine Corps breaks up its policy, standards, and guidelines across the Fleet Marine Force within the four components, that being the command, the ground, the aviation, the logistics command element. So I strive to be a MAGTF engineer by understanding the capabilities to plan, monitor, and to coordinate all engineer assets. It's essentially trying to be a well-rounded engineer, sir.
That's outstanding, and I would have to wager that the academic challenges you face at the Citadel have been proactively helping you through some of the challenges you've had on that side of the house.
Most definitely.
I'm also noting the selflessness you've demonstrated as a cadet. It's pretty impressive, your bio, by the way. You've clearly demonstrated a passion for charitable work, which I think is outstanding. All of our cadets are required to provide service hours to the community, and this comes in a variety of formats, but you have gone above and beyond, and it's exceptional to see this. Reviewing my notes, it appears you've campaigned and raised over $1 million for nonprofit organizations such as Charleston Area Food Banks, the American Red Cross, and you volunteered at substance abuse shelters across the Low Country. How has that selfless cadet leadership and dedication translated now to your time commanding Marines?
Yes, sir. So when I think about being a selfless leader, at my time at the Citadel, I was fortunate to be mentored by so many great leaders, and one that kind of comes to mind is Colonel Dunn. He really emphasized family to us. So when I took my first platoon, I try to be a servant leader to them so that they can translate to my squad leaders, and just make sure that it was disseminating down that family, mission first, but family always.
Outstanding, and it's a great deal of pride when we see the ring on your hand and we hear these stories of our graduates doing this. We expect it of our cadets, and we expect it of our graduates when they leave. You're in a unique position that you've been out of the Citadel just a couple of years now, and you're seeing the real world of Marine Corps living and leadership. When you think now back to where you were 5 years ago, and that moment when you were first considering the Citadel, what words of encouragement or what advice would you be giving yourself back 5 years ago?
The words that I would give myself 5 years ago would just be continue to be relentless, continue to have that devotion, never give up, always challenge yourself and seek opportunities so you can set yourself apart from your peers.
You mentioned mentorship, and many of us have mentioned mentorship. I think it's a keen cultural understanding for all of our viewers tonight that when you come to the Citadel, mentorship is a way of life, and it's not automatically given to you. There are a lot of facilities that do provide direct mentorship to our people, but one of the things I want to mention on that front is that we do have a really outstanding core group of leadership here on the academic, in the barracks, in our tactical officer staff, and certainly in our military units on campus, that there's a committed effort that when people work hard, they're rewarded with wisdom and investment. And that's clear in your pursuits right now as a young officer and grinding through the challenges of being a young officer and doing what you got to do. We're very appreciative of your time tonight. I think a lot of our questions tonight are going to be aimed at you. So prepare yourself for that moment. We've got that evolution coming down the line. We're gonna continue to move on. There's a lot of information we've got to cover, Lieutenant, on the ROTC scholarship side. Were you a scholarship candidate, by the way? What was your status while you were here?
I was a PLC contract.
Outstanding. Good for you. Stand by if you can. We'd appreciate it, Lieutenant. If you can stick around, it would be great for our Q&A segment here. We're going to transition next to our resident Marine officer instructor here at the Citadel, and that would be Captain John Moreno. He will be serving to demonstrate a lot of the information regarding ROTC scholarships, the process. I'm going to give a little background on Captain Moreno. He entered the Marine Corps via the Delayed Entry Program in 1998. Then Corporal Moreno deployed with the 13th Marine Expeditionary Unit, the MEU, from August 2000 to February 2001. And was among the first military members to participate in Operation Determined Response following the terrorist attack on the USS Cole in Yemen in 2000. From there, Corporal Moreno attended the Basic Reconnaissance Course in Coronado, California, where he was a distinguished honor graduate. Following BRC, Sergeant Moreno was assigned as a team leader with the 1st Reconnaissance Battalion, Camp Pendleton, California, where he served from 2001 to 2005. Sergeant Moreno deployed twice to Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom 1 and 2 during his tenure with the 1st Reconnaissance Battalion. Subsequent roles including an assignment as an instructor at the Basic Reconnaissance Course following his second deployment to Iraq, where he was awarded the Expeditionary Warfare Training Group Pacific Instructor of the Year Award in 2006. Gunnery Sergeant Moreno was subsequently selected for Marine Enlisted Commissioning Educational Program called MESEP program and attended the University of San Diego, where he earned a Bachelor's in Arts in International Relations. He received his commission as a second lieutenant in 2011. One of his final duty stations before arriving at the Citadel was his assignment to the 3rd Marine Raider Support Battalion, Marine Special Operations Command at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Captain Moreno, welcome to the program.
Seamus, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And to Lieutenant Harvey Fondwell, it's good seeing you again.
And that's the relationship side. There's mentoring right there with Captain Moreno. You had a distinguished career both as a non-commissioned officer and a commissioned officer, and that's very unique. This speaks to the commitment that we have here to serve. So again, we appreciate your very valuable time. I know you've got kids at home and other things that are demanding of your time. So we're appreciative of that. Sir, if you wouldn't mind running through some of the scholarship qualifications and the varieties of those opportunities. And Josh will run slides for you in this presentation here, sir.
Of course, I appreciate it. And thank you again for having me on here. So as the Marine Officer Instructor, my job is to mentor everyone who comes in, both those who do have a scholarship and those who do not and are pursuing it. And that includes, those like Second Lieutenant Harvey Fondwell, who were through the Platoon Leaders course, or even through our Officer Candidate course candidates who are looking to go become commissioned officers following their graduation from school. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the requirements as we come in. So getting into the scholarship, we get into the next slide, you'll see here that the Navy ROTC scholarship, like the Navy said, covers our tuition and fees. And with the addition of those Armed Forces scholarship that comes from the Citadel, it does cover quite a bit amount of money. It also includes that monthly stipend that begins at $250 a month, and it increases $50 a month for each following year. You also do get that book stipend, which is up to $750 a year. And what you don't see on here is you also get those uniform allowance that's provided to you. Since the Citadel has unique uniforms that are different, the senior military colleges are actually offered additional money for those ROTC scholarship recipients in order to be able to pay for some of those uniforms. And this also includes the uniforms that you're going to need for when you go to summer training, which are the Marine specific uniforms. Prior to coming to the Citadel, you would be attending the new student indoctrination, and this is all across the board for both Navy and the Marine Corps. And this is essentially kind of like an intro to the military, where you spend 2 weeks in Great Lakes, which is near Chicago, and you'll learn how to drill, learn how to wear a uniform, and it's a basic intro to the Navy and the Marines. Everyone's required to do that. The last couple of summers, we've had issues, especially the summer, obviously, because of COVID. But their anticipation is that we are going to be sending people to that next year. In addition to that, with the scholarship recipient award, you will have to do a summer training, and they're great opportunities. As you see here, we have 3 cruises. The first one is the CORTRAMID, which is Career Orientation and Training for Midshipmen, and this is an opportunity for you to learn about the different aspects of the Navy and, of course, about the Marines. So you'll spend 1 week out in the field with the Marines, either at Camp Pendleton or Camp Lejeune. In addition to that, you have the MAGTF cruise, which will take place following your sophomore year, and this is a 2-week program in which you are embedded with a unit and you get an opportunity to actually see what it's like to be a Marine for about 2 weeks, whether it's on a ship, a deployment, or in the on-base training. And then finally, the big one, you have Officer Candidate School, which takes place following your junior year, so the summer between your junior and your senior year. And this is where you get to earn the title of Marine. So if you become successful and you pass OCS, which all of our Citadel cadets have been, we have a 100% success rate because of the program that we have here. You then graduate and you earn your commission at the end of your senior year. Next slide. So here are the minimum qualifications that you need for that scholarship. Obviously, you need to be a U.S. citizen because it has clearance, security clearance implications. You need to be at least 17 years old, which I know most of you are going to be, but most people turn 18. If you're 17, you do need to have parents' permission to sign all the documents. You need to be physically qualified to Marine Corps standards. Now, what does that mean? The Marine Corps has very strict height and weight standards and physical fitness standards. And those are outlined if you look at on the scholarship, and you'll get the point of contact information on how to find this. But the Marine Corps is very strict when it comes to that. We have high standards when it comes to our physical fitness and our appearance. So not only do you have to meet the metrics, whether it's your height or your weight, you actually have to look the part as well. And that's something that we can talk about. And I know that often becomes a question about some of the physical fitness standards that we have. In addition, The current scholarship requirement does still include taking either the SAT or the ACT. They have not waived that. So I know on the chat board I was looking and someone had asked if it was waiving it. I understand some universities have. I'm not quite certain if the Citadel has. But when it comes to the scholarship, the Navy and the Marine Corps and the Marine option is still requiring one of those two scores. So that is something for you to consider. In addition to that, you can take the ASVAB, which is an entry-level exam designed for Marines or designed for those who are interested in enlisting into the military. And the ASVAB score, the score that you would need is a 74 to meet that. So if you cannot take an SAT or an ACT test because of the COVID restrictions in your state, you can potentially contact the Marine recruiter and ask them if you can take the ASVAB. That's ASVAB, the ASVAB test. And that's something that you'd have to speak with your scholarship coordinator about taking. Next slide. So here's some of the stats. Again, another question that popped up in the chat where what are some of the statistics or the averages that you're seeing for selection? Because I know that matters. So of note here, you'll see that last year we selected 20% of the applicants. So that's something to consider, right? We are very selective. The Marine Corps has the lowest number of scholarships available, and we are the most selective. So consider that, right? That those odds aren't in your favor, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try. It means that you should put your best foot forward in everything you do, both in your academics and your physical fitness. You'll see some of the averages that we have there. Very competitive. 1280 ACT for males with a 1271 for females. That Marine physical fitness test, a score of 263 out of 300, or 257 for females. And then if you look at that high school GPA, these are unweighted GPAs. So something to consider. We're looking for somebody who's smart and physically tough and has resilience and has all the characteristics that we want coming to the Citadel. It's the same thing that we want for our Marine options. Next slide. This is what it looks like when you come with us, when you come to the unit and you train. So whether you are a scholarship recipient or you're in pursuit of a scholarship, you unfortunately didn't get one for your national, but you can pursue a 3-year or a 2-year scholarship, or you can participate with our unit if you're actively participating in the PLC program like Lieutenant Harvey Fonville did. You can come in, join the unit, and this is what it looks like. We have Basic Rifleman Skills Lab, which is where we teach you how to go through the School of Infantry Regiment to learn how to be an infantryman or a basic infantryman. We have physical fitness twice a week in the mornings on Wednesdays and Fridays. On Thursdays, we do the practical application of those courses or that leadership lab that you learned on Monday. And that fills out your week on top of your responsibilities. So we do require a lot of you. In addition, something that's unique to the Citadel that you won't find at very many institutions is the access to our MECEPs. And so like Seamus had mentioned, I was an enlisted Marine first. I had done 10 years enlisted. Then I went to university and I had an opportunity to go to college and get my degree. And I was still on active duty. That program where MECEPs, where enlisted Marines go to college to get a degree and then commission with their fellow classmates, is that MECEP. Here we have 24 MECEPs, which is one of the most in the country. In addition to that, we integrate all of our MECEPs into your squads, and that's our lowest level of organization. So you have direct mentorship of active duty Marines who just came out of the fleet, who just came out from out in the Marine Corps, who've seen it, experience, who know what it's like to be out there, who are directly mentoring you and talking to you about what it's like in a day in the life of a Marine, which is really unique because a lot of universities either don't have MECEPs, don't have the number that we have, or they don't integrate them the way that we do. Finally, the other two things that are pretty unique to the Citadel when it comes to the Marine Option Scholarship is that we have field training exercises that get to take advantage of the local bases that we have. So in the fall, we typically go out to Parris Island and we'll put you through a mini crucible or like a mini boot camp, if you will. And that gives you an opportunity to see what it's like to go through the crucible as if you were an enlisted Marine or preparing for officer candidate school. And then we also take you to Fort Jackson in Columbia, where we get to do all of those skills that we practice throughout the year from that basic rifleman package. And you get to apply it during land navigation. And it culminates with a platoon versus platoon training exercise against each other. Next slide. Here's something to consider when it comes to the PFT. Again, Marines we pride ourselves on being very physically fit. And this is something for you to look at. So these are the standards that we're looking for, right? We don't give you minimums because we want you to push yourself to get to the max. So you're trying to get as many pull-ups as you can, both for males and females. We have transitioned from the crunches to the plank. And so that's something to test your core strength. There's videos on the Marine Corps website And even if you come onto our NROTC page for the Marine option, you'll see some links to physical fitness training. We'll show you how to do the plank. And then additionally, we run our 3 miles. So it's a little bit further than other services and a little bit further than the Citadel standards. So make sure you understand that we're looking for a 3-mile run time when it comes to the physical fitness. Next slide. And I will end with this. I will tell you, there are additional opportunities. Just because you don't get it, right? Only 20% get selected. If you do not get the scholarship, it's okay. Join the Citadel, come to our unit, join the unit, and then fight and pursue a 3-year and a 2-year side load scholarship. We have a really good success rate because those who show the determination to want to be a Marine put forth that effort and that extra energy in order to get yourself across that finish line. And again, my job here is to help you to get to that point. Next slide. And that's all I got for now, Seamus. Thank you.
Contact information for our folks. This is where you take your camera out and make sure you're getting this contact information. It's very, very helpful for all of our viewers tonight. Thank you for also enunciating the importance of the MECEP program here at the Citadel. We've had great leaders here. The integrated approach that is employed over there, and the wisdom sharing that takes place is a huge asset to our folks as they prepare to go to Officer Candidate School. It's having an internal a team of folks that are very, very seasoned and experienced that can give you not only what to do, what not to do. There's a hell of a lot of wisdom that these folks bring to bear. And again, I think it speaks to our success rates that we have at OCM, that are at Officer Candidate School, rather, we have tremendous success because, again, it's a team effort and we have a lot of veteran wisdom that's being imparted to our folks here. So thank you, Captain Moreno. We appreciate all the importance of the presentation. And again, for all of our Marine candidates, understand that there are multiple ways to end up being a commissioned officer out of the Citadel's Marine contingency here. So that's very important information. We're going to transition into the unifying element of tonight's presentation, which is getting our 2 cadet panelists on board. We have Cadet Joe Field and Cadet Garrett Siebold. I'm going to start with Cadet Joe Field, whose hometown is Bettendorf, Iowa. He's a political science major. He's a Marine ROTC scholarship winner pursuing infantry. And Joe serves as the Marine Unit Company Commander as a senior cadet here at the Citadel. He's also a member of the Citadel's honors program, and the Semper Fi Society. Secondarily, we have Cadet Garrett Siebold, whose hometown is Huntington, New York. He's a civil and environmental engineering major here at the Citadel, and as a 2-year Navy contract, he is pursuing naval aviation. He also serves as a battalion commander of the Naval ROTC battalion here. An interesting note on his calendar is that he is also a men's Division I tennis athlete here at the Citadel. He's involved in 3 honors programs or societies on campus that are pretty impressive: Tau Beta Pi, Chi Alpha Sigma, and most recently Omicron Delta Kappa. Cadet Siebold and Field, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having us, sir.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here. I know it's preparing for ESP, or you're getting into evening study period. So this is a pivotal time in the cadet cycle of the day where they get the work done, which is the academic crucible of the daily life of a cadet. I'm going to start with you, Cadet Siebold. You're involved in many different areas of cadet life, including that of a Division I athlete. Tell us how you're able to pull this off successfully. There's a lot of challenge to that role.
When it comes to being successful here and outside the Citadel as well, whether it's balancing academics or athletics, I think one thing I've truly learned, and the most crucial aspects, I believe, to success is humbling yourself first and foremost, and understanding that the people around you always have something to bring to the table. The Citadel, it's the road less traveled, and it takes a special individual to attend the Citadel. And no matter where you look, there's going to be someone who is better than you at something. So with that said, being able to make connections, being able to lean on your classmates, like Joe, actually, we calculated together, and we're both from Delta Company, and being able to lean on your classmates, being able to learn from them, it all is extremely beneficial to your success. And then through the Citadel, from knob year through your senior year, there'll be constantly small stresses, induced stress, help you learn how to balance your time
and to grow. And they're relatively small things like, learning your nom knowledge and stuff like that. But those small things add up very quickly. And learning how to balance your time is also very important. So you put those couple things together and you could do anything you want. And the opportunities here are immense.
I think one of the things that we can point out about being a tennis athlete is it's a one-on-one, mano-a-mano sport, which is great mentally. I was a wrestler, so anytime you walk away from a competition, whether you're a winner or a loser with no one else to blame but yourself, it's a great environment to learn leadership and learn how to be tough and mentally focused. You created a club, and I want to bring this to everyone's attention, called the Fallen But Not Forgotten Club. Can you tell us briefly about this organization you formed?
Yes, sir. So actually, me and the current Charlie company commander, he will be commissioning to the Air Force as a TAC-P officer. When we were, I believe, in our sophomore year, we thought it would be really awesome to represent folks who have served in the military and who lost their life overseas. And the way that we do that is on a weekly basis, we would collect a group of individuals, like-minded individuals, and we'd learn about our person of that week. Be Travis Mannion, or maybe it be a Citadel alumni, and then we'd tailor a workout and then conduct a workout that following weekend, all to honor that individual.
That's outstanding, and congratulations for having that sentiment. I think that there's a profound sense of duty and respect for our folks. We have an avenue for our viewers, just so you know, there's an avenue called the Avenue of Remembrance on this campus where our freshmen walk in the gutters. And this is not just about being a knob. This is about tipping your hat in reverence and respect for all of our fallen graduates. This is also notably made known in the springtime with our Citadel clubs, which are all over the United States. There's a Corps Day muster in which all of the fallen graduates' names are read. And so there's a real poignancy and awareness of the service and sacrifice that our folks in arms are providing this nation. So that's kudos to you for that. Can you tell us briefly what your role is in the Cadet Corps of Command in the barracks?
So I'm currently serving as the 1st Battalion Adjutant. So being a member of staff, we oversee all the individuals, all the cadets in 1st Battalion, which are several hundred cadets. And on staff, everyone has a very specific role. For my position as Battalion Adjutant, my main focus is developing guard rosters, weekend duty rosters, and the guard schedule as well. Those things post outside of in town, in addition to overseeing punishments.
Outstanding. I'm going to ask you an off-the-line question here. Who's your favorite tennis player? Who do you follow? Who's your guy?
Definitely Roger Federer, but right now he's been injured. So, but yeah, it's someone like that. He's so classy in everything he does on and off the court. So he's a great role model. Let's
hope he gets another major. All right. We appreciate that, yes, Cadet Seabold. Stick around. We've got a Q&A coming up here. I'm going to move on next to Cadet Field. Cadet Joe Field, for all of our viewers out there, I want you to tell us about the Honors Program. You're a member of the Honors Program, which is a pretty exceptional outfit here, academic outfit here on campus. Can you tell us a little bit about that outfit there, Joe?
Yes, sir. So the Honors Program, essentially how it functions is there'll be additional academic requirements that you'll have to fulfill through the Honors Program, in addition to the regular Corps of Cadets academic requirements. And although it may seem like because of that, it might be a burden, it's really the exact opposite. The amount of opportunities you'll get through doing the Honors Program is so much. You'll get to be with like-minded people. You'll get to get pre-registered, so you'll get your class schedule the way you want it. You'll get access to certain classes that are only open to Honors Program students. And the matter of the fact is, a lot of people applying for these Navy and Marine Corps scholarships are the exact candidates that Dr. Reagan wants to see in the Honors Program. So I would really encourage every one of these people to apply for that Honors Program, because like Captain Moreno said, the Marine Corps and Navy doesn't just want super physically fit people. They want people that are well-rounded. They want people to be physically fit, good leaders, and good at academics.
Outstanding. Hey, I'm going to do another offline question for you, Joe. We're staring at what we call full presses behind you. This is where we have all of our hanging uniforms. If you wouldn't mind giving a quick tour for our viewers of your room. It's not an SMI order, I'm assuming, but we won't hold any demerits against you. But if you'll showcase what your room looks like for all of our viewers tonight.
Yes, sir. It's not very organized right now, but so here's the full press. So that's where you'll keep a lot of your clothes that you have to hang up. Every month or so, there'll be a Saturday morning inspection where you'll have to go and get that inspected by an officer. And then there's the rack over here where you'll sleep in. So they're in bunk bed format. Since I'm a senior, I could have that moved, but I choose not to because I think the space is better. And then right here is the half press. So that's where you'll keep a lot of your clothes that you'll fold it up. There's a thing called the white book where everything in there has to be organized in a specific manner. And obviously there's the desk. And so those 4 pieces of furniture make up the main 4 pieces of furniture actually in a room. And every cadet room, even up to the regimental commander down to a knob, will have these 4 pieces of furniture.
Of course, you got a sink there too to shave in the morning, and I'm assuming that rack I can bounce a quarter off right now. Is that about accurate?
I don't know about right now, sir, but I'm on inspection this next week. You'll be able to.
Outstanding. I'm sure Captain Peluso will take interest in that particular room. So thanks again for giving us the quick tour.
Yes, sir.
Tell us what your role is in the barracks.
So right now I'm serving as Delta Company's cadre platoon commander. So I'm in charge of training the 30 knobs that Delta Company has assigned to it. So it's a really fulfilling job because not only do I get to train these knobs who are eventually one day going to be the leaders of the Citadel and running the Citadel, but I also get to mentor a lot of people I have trained since they were knobs. So the cadre sergeants, the cadre corporals, and help them through this process of what it's like to train someone and to prevent them from falling into some of the bad pitfalls I've seen people fall into, and really kind of, making sure that they're doing the right thing all the time.
That's a key element. And we've talked about mentoring as a resource, but again, what you find at the Citadel is there are layers and layers and layers of support elements, including mentorship with cadets. Our cadet chain of command is trained in this. They understand this, particularly the seniors in the mentorship roles. We have tactical officers that serve as mentors. We have academic folks who serve as mentors. And we have our folks in the ROTC detachments that also directly mentor our cadets. You serve as the Marine Unit Company Commander, and you're dealing with MECEPs, and you're dealing with cadets that are your classmates and underclassmates. There's a heck of a lot of responsibility. Talk to me about your own personal leadership style that you use to employ to keep these folks in line and getting the job done.
Yes, sir. Without a doubt, although the Corps of Cadets has really taught me a lot about leadership, it really pales in comparison to what I've learned at the Marine Unit here. The Marine Unit at the Citadel, I would put against anyone in the country. But so what I've learned the most is, a lot of people are extremely motivated and energetic, kind of like myself, so they want to control everything. And that's obviously micromanaging is a trap a lot of leaders, naive leaders fall into. So initially I started doing that, but I've had a lot of really important mentors. Lieutenant Harvey Fonville is a great example. He was actually Marine Unit Company Commander here 2 years ago. And so he was able to help me when I was a sophomore. And I've been talking to him a lot these past couple of years. And so really what I try to do is push leadership down to the lowest possible level. Because even if someone's a sophomore and you don't think they can do a lot, they really do want to do that. So you got to trust in those lower level leaders and allow them, give them the tools to succeed. Don't just tell them to go do it and, fire and forget, but continue to spot check them, mentor them, and really just push down responsibility and push down these tasks because these people want to do it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, as much as you do that, if something goes wrong, it's your fault. You're the one that's ultimately held responsible for it. But really empowering those lower level leaders is something I really believe in.
Our Commandant, Captain Peluso, career SEAL, he holds a very high standard of the cadet leadership. I think you would agree to that element right there. Congratulations. I want to circle around. When I was talking to Commander Lynn, we were talking about the sacrifices and the adjustments and the pivoting that's been required of our cadet leadership to make this year successful. I want to tip my hat to you and the other leadership. We have Cadet Seabold as well, that it's really humbling to see the cadets, when you look back as an old alum like myself, doing what's necessary to be successful in this demanding environment. There's nothing easy about this. I don't think any alumnus wearing this ring would trade the environment you're faced with what they were faced with. So the hardships you're enduring to make this successful, I tip my hat to you. And so kudos to that element. And obviously, we wish you both continued success. We're going to get ready to move now into the question and answer segment. This is an important element here where we're going to have all those questions that we have. My counterpart, Josh Simon, is going to play a role in this. I also want to make sure that as we conclude that everyone should have their phones ready. We're going to put that QR code up at the culmination of this so that all of our folks out there can scan that and pick up. There's a really quick form you'll complete to make sure we get accurate delivery of that Citadel pennant. But Josh, I'm going to put you on point on this thing, and we'll get rolling into our Q&A on this.
Thank you, Seamus. I would like to start. There's been a lot of questions about ACT and SAT scores in regards to the ROTC scholarships, but I would like to give Lieutenant Tate the opportunity to go first in answering, as Captain Moreno was able to get to that as well. Lieutenant Tate, a lot of these questions are centered around access to SAT, ACT scores. What is the Navy's current policies regarding test scores, and what options might they have for the Navy? And then when he's done, sir, Captain Moreno, would you please follow with any thoughts or comments?
All right. So in regards to the requirements, as of right now, there has not been a waiver for those requirements. However, we are in the COVID environment. Things that we have never seen before are happening. And based on the number of applicants that we have, the Navy is very reactive, and please work with your recruiting officer or whoever's helping you fill out your application to be up to date on any changes. As of right now, there's no change. It is a requirement that can change based on the number of applicants that we get in the COVID environment, because we are reactive and we do need to make a good number of four-year scholarships nationwide. So this is not a Citadel problem. This is a nationwide problem, and the military always adapts and overcomes. As of right now, the standard's the standard, but I would not be surprised if additional guidance comes out in the short term.
Thank you, sir.
Josh, I might add a little bit on the admissions front, because this is a continued question for all of our applicants. Everyone here is at an applicant stage. Merit-based scholarships are also requiring that from an admissions perspective. There are some difficult hot button areas. One of the things I would ask all of our viewers who are pursuing these scholarships is to open your radar a bit. You should be looking outside of your border, your state borders, to try to find testing opportunities if possible. Make a day trip out of it. Bring your mask, find out what's necessary, but this is critical. Both the Navy and ROTC scholarships, Navy and Marine Corps ROTC scholarships, when I confirm, I'm seeing a 31 December deadline. Is that accurate, gentlemen? On the submission of those scores and the packets? So this is critical timing right now, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen who are watching tonight, is that you need to get on top of what testing opportunities are available, not only in your home states, but potentially in neighboring states. It's worthwhile for you to make that journey to get those tests under your belt so you have access to these ROTC scholarships. Josh?
Captain Moreno, your thoughts on the same topic?
Yeah, so they're not waiving the SAT requirement, but you can take the ASVAB. And like I said, if you get an AFQT, the Armed Forces Qualification Test score that comes from that ASVAB, you need a minimum of 74. So that is a way to try to kind of get around the SAT or the ACT if you cannot take those tests. That's really the only workaround we have. But as of now, you are required to do some kind of standardized test for the Marine Option Scholarship.
Thank you, sir. We have a question here asking about what if you are a college transfer student. Would you mind speaking on that, and then I'll transfer to Lieutenant Tate to follow.
Yeah, it's a good question. So the Navy ROTC scholarship puts a hard stop on 60 credit hours. So if you already have 60 credit hours, you are not eligible for any national scholarship on the Marine side. That's regardless, a 3-year or a 2-year scholarship. So if you're transferring and you have over 60, that does become a problem. You're not eligible for that. If you're less than that, then you still have an opportunity, but that can be problematic for you transferring.
Lieutenant Tate?
Navy follows suit. The general requirements are that you be a sophomore, and we observe you for 6 months, and sophomore is done by credit hours. So we must observe you in a ROTC program for at least 6 months, and you must be sophomore or freshman for us to do that and meet the requirements for a scholarship.
Thank you, sir. Next question here is about the process of contracting. I'd like to go to Cadet Field to start this off. Can you speak on the process of contracting?
Yes, sir. So essentially, that process will start the first day you step on campus. You're pursuing that contract. So, like it's been mentioned before, academics will play a huge role. So, especially that freshman year, you got to make sure you're on your game with academics and not let that GPA slip. On top of that, it'll come into play with what your PT score is. So, you're going to be working to make sure you get that PT score up to where it needs to be. And it'll also start when you join the unit, and we'll be going to those labs Monday afternoon and Thursday afternoon. Then you'll work with your respective counterpart in the Marine Corps department or the Navy department, and then they'll give you all the tools you need to succeed. But like it's been mentioned before, if you don't get that first one out of high school, and say you don't get that first one your freshman year, I have really good buddies. Actually, the company first sergeant in the Marine unit didn't get one until his junior year. So he worked really hard for 2 full years and ended up getting like an advanced standing sort of thing. And so that really just goes to show is that if you want to be a Marine officer and you want to lead Marines and serve Marines, it's not going to be, you fail once and you give up. If you really want to make a career out of this and you want to do this and you feel like it's your calling, if you try your absolute hardest and use the resources you're given while you're here, they'll find a way to get you commissioned.
Thank you. Lieutenant Harvey Fumble, would you discuss, so you are a PLC, so you took another one of the many routes to a commission and being an officer in the Marine Corps. Could you speak to that process to help our audience as well, please?
We got you on mute.
Sorry.
My apologies. So I took the route of PLC, and I did that by contracting through the officer selection officer at the time. So even though I was a PLC contract, I still was heavily participating in the NRTC unit. So
Outstanding.
Thank you.
yes, sir.
There's a question here about AP credits, and I'll speak to that on an admissions front. So in terms of AP courses or transfer courses, as it's been asked from one of our audience, we do accept transfer. You need to complete 3 full years in the Corps of Cadets. Now, if you have more credit hours than that in terms of admissions to the Citadel, this is not the ROTC programs, but admissions specific to the Citadel, it's all right if you have more credits than that, but we only transfer I believe the number is 76 off the top of my head. However, those AP credits, you do get credit for them, and any of those transfer credits, how they are applied, it depends on the course, where it was taken, and your major. So it's very specific. You'll want to reach out to our registrar and ask them those specific questions. But I can say that, yes, we do accept those transfer courses. And what I mean is how they're applied is it might not be one for one, like a math course for a math course. It may be more of a math course that you took will actually transfer as an elective, as it doesn't meet the specific requirements of your chosen major. It's much too specific to get into and nuanced to the individual to get into the details for each of you, but I recommend get your transcripts, communicate with our registrar's office, and they'll be able to give you much more direct and specific information to your case. Seamus, any addition to that?
I think we have moved to a different general educational model that scales these types of elective courses throughout all 4 years instead of front loading a lot of these opportunities, the elective courses in the first few years. Another thing that's happened with our curriculum is we've become much more niched to get specialty outcomes. You'll find that our business degree is being diversified into different pipelines, finance, for example, accounting. Same thing is happening in general terms. So if you're taking esoteric AP, you're not going to find a likely landing place for that. But a lot of the major specific, as you noted, Josh, will have aptitude in terms of translation. Again, we're only taking 1 year worth of that. So there is a limitation to that. We're going to put our information and talk more about visit opportunities that are critical for you candidates out there in terms of visit opportunities on campus. We have open houses and such that we'll talk about. But I would encourage you to contact your admissions counselor specifically. You can contact Josh or myself directly. We would encourage that. If there's specific questions we can answer offline that are academic or admissions related in general, to not take away from this particular program.
Thank you, Seamus. We have a question here about outcomes, about where you can go, and I'd like to put this up. It's starting with Captain Moreno. Would you speak to this person wants to know how can I pursue the SEAL program while at? Excuse me, I should have put Lieutenant Tate up, but if you'll allow me a moment to switch here. In terms of outcomes, sir, if I want to pursue a SEAL program while at the Citadel ROTC, can I go straight to BUD/S right after the Citadel, or do I choose my top 3 jobs in the Navy, then work to become a SEAL?
The best answer for that is we do commission EOD and SEALs as far as ROTC. These spots are for ROTC are extremely rare. They are for people that are physically, mentally, academically the top, like just amazing athletes. Upon commissioning, so during the process, we allow summer training for the cadets to go be with the SEAL community, go through the physical tests, and they're constantly judging them. So it's a summer by summer basis, rolling like a rolling application. And then somewhere around October of their senior year, we do what's called service selection. And we put together special warfare packets, SEAL or EOD packets, and either the community accepts the applicant or does not accept the applicant. So it is not a guarantee. No matter how you're trying to get into special warfare, it is extremely difficult. The minimum requirements that are on the website are not what it takes, especially physically, are not what it takes to qualify. So we do work with the Marines and our special warfare MECEPs that have special warfare training to give the best possible outcome for those that are seeking SEAL contracts. However, it is a very difficult task. And in the words of Dan Crenshaw, if there's a SEAL in you, you will go to BUD/S. BUD/S doesn't make SEALs. You're just proving that you're a SEAL in BUD/S. And if you're selected for that program, you'll go to BUD/S and prove that you are a SEAL because you're that type of athlete. You're that type of person, and that's part of your DNA. And that's a quote, Dan Crenshaw, former SEAL.
Thank you, sir. Captain Moreno, a similar question about outcomes is, are there opportunities for cadets interested in Marine Recon or Raiders or any other special MOSs?
That's a great question. So one thing to consider with the Marine Corps is that you do not get your job or your military occupation specialty coming out of the ROTC. You graduate and you become a second lieutenant, and then you go to Quantico, Virginia, where you attend the basic school, and we call it TBS for short. At TBS, you will compete and then get assigned your career field or your job. So that's one thing to consider. You come out, you don't get your job graduating from school, you'll get it at TBS. While at TBS, you have the opportunity to compete for an infantry officer position, which is our 03, 02 positions. And then from there, you have a chance to be assigned to a recon unit and go through additional training to go into become a recon officer. Same thing with MARSOC and being a special operations officer. You cannot get recon and you cannot get Marine Special Operations Officer jobs coming directly out of the basic school. Those are considered more advanced, and you have to be a senior lieutenant or a captain to compete for those jobs.
Thank you, sir. Questions here regarding, do they need to go to a local recruiter? We won't keep it just to Navy, but do they need to go to a local recruiter to speak about applying for scholarships? Who should they speak to? Is it just go straight to the website, and I'll go to Lieutenant Tate next?
Yeah, so the way that it works is from the Marine options side of it is you go to the website and you click on an application for the Navy ROTC scholarship. It's the same website, and then on the very first landing page, it gives you an option to say, are you pursuing the Marine option or the Navy option? From there, it kind of divests and goes into a different direction. For the Marine side of it, once you've completed the online portion, it gets assigned to your local recruiting office and a recruiting officer or the selection officer in that area, depending on where you are. They'll reach out to you directly and then tell you about the different things that you need to provide, because there's a lot more information. The online website is simply to get you started, and then you have a plethora of documents that you need to provide. But that will get assigned to you automatically. You don't choose, it'll get done for you.
Thank you. Lieutenant Tate?
It's the same, the online resource, netc.navy.mil for the application. Here at the Citadel, we do not handle the 4-year scholarships. we handle the cadets once they get here, or the midshipmen once they get here, and we do the 3-year, the 2-year scholarships, and the advanced standing. We build those packages. We do not build your 4-year package here. So that's something that you need to go on the website and work with your local recruiter.
Thank you, sir. In terms of aviation and pilot slots, excuse me, will they have the opportunity as cadets to sort of observe that and experience what those pipelines, those training paths may be like towards aviation? Will there be opportunities for them to go and visit, say, Pensacola, or what opportunities do they have to understand what that process would be like as a cadet?
During our summer training and our field training exercises, we like to expose everybody to all the major warfare areas: surface aviation, special warfare, and nuclear. We'd also, that being one of the primary commissioning, one of the most common commissions is to be commissioned as an aviator. So the Navy, you commission as an officer, and it's a specific officer. So there's no, the follow-on school is a specific school. Say if you graduate and you're selected as an aviator, you'll go immediately to Pensacola. If you go surface warfare, you'll go immediately surface warfare. We have a comprehensive training program for all communities that ensure success at our qualification and success in the individual community. So if we have a cadet that says, I want to be a pilot, we will train that cadet until service selection, so that they are physically qualified, they're mentally qualified, and any other tests or medical qualifications, we make sure that we take them through that process so that we can achieve success. Now, coming specifically for an aviator, that's not a guarantee. It's based on the needs of the Navy. However, statistically, most people leave the Citadel as surface warfare officers or aviators.
Thank you, sir. Another question in regards to STEM majors that you mentioned. What if someone is trying to pursue a JAG career or something in the legal sense?
That is not our area of specialty. That you would have to contact a recruiter. The general answer to that is you will graduate, not a part of the unit. We do not commission JAGs. So now, if someone commissions as an officer and performs well during their graduate education, they can switch communities and go to law school. That is not uncommon to go to law school, go to medical school, to change your field. But we do not offer 4-year. The ROTC scholarship is not meant to send you to law school or to medical school. There's another avenue through your local officer recruiter that can help you with that job field.
Thank you, sir. Folks, as we get closer here, we're approaching the 90-minute mark, which was our max goal. I'm happy to keep this going for another few questions, so please get those in should you have them. Otherwise, we'll start to move in the other direction. Another question coming in now is the CECP available for freshman cadets at the Citadel? Is that a Navy?
I think it's a Marine.
I think it's a confusion with the MECEP program, and essentially, and not to jump in, Captain, I'm sorry about that. This is your area of expertise, so I'm going to back out.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's confusing with the MECEP. So the MECEP program is specific for enlisted Marines who have been approved to go to college and take college courses to become commissioned officers. So it doesn't apply to freshmen. It doesn't apply for non-active duty members. I want to go back real quickly to the JAG question, because the Marine Corps just changed this for us about 3 months ago. So cadets and candidates who get a scholarship, a national scholarship, do now have the option from the Marine side to go directly from graduation, being commissioned, and then going to law school and doing 2 years of law school, and then going in to be legal officers in the Marine Corps, which is a first. We've never done that before, and it just started this year. So that is an opportunity. You don't get paid when that happens. You commission, and then you go what we call the inactive reserve. So you're waiting your time. You go to law school, you have to fund that your whole self. It's a whole nother program, but we do have that option if somebody is pursuing law and they want to go become a lawyer or go become a JAG in the Marine Corps.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and move us out of the Q&A portion. If you still have questions, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, please, after the video and as we get to the end, there will be this QR code that will take you to a site where you can put your information so that you get your pennant. At the bottom of that will be an opportunity to ask further questions, which will be forwarded on to any member of our panel that you would like to ask questions of, and we'll make sure we get answers to you straight away. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over to Seamus, and we will continue on with the program. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. We're going to do a little housekeeping here for everyone who's viewing. With COVID, there's a lot of questions on how you visit the Citadel, and this is really, really important for us. We're not interested in getting everyone to the Citadel. We're interested in getting the right people to the Citadel. So all of our folks tonight, just so you know, we do have in-person visits available for you and your family. The requirements on campus is that everyone is masked at all times. We do have availability to get in certain locations, and we have cadet-led tours. These are important things. The totality of all the visit opportunities, I should say, are on prenob.com. That's listed on the page right there. We have virtual information sessions, which are kind of condensed opportunities to learn about the Citadel, to learn details further along in the admissions process, things that we're going to require. And we also have our counseling staff. All the admissions counselors are available for one-on-one Zoom sessions. Another thing to note is that you probably have received a recent email to the end of inviting you to participate in this in-house kind of open house virtual environment called Inside the Gate. This is what we normally would do it in a pre-nob overnight environment where we would have you staying in the barracks, but obviously with COVID, that's not available. But we're spending a heck of a lot of time preparing this 3-day evolution where you have opportunity to hear from senior administration folks. You can participate a la carte on any of the 3 days or all 3 days. The next of which is occurring next week. So if you don't have that email in your inbox, and look carefully, check your junk mail, check everywhere to make sure you got it, because I think all of our applicants were given this email recently, maybe in the last few days. If you don't get that, contact Josh or myself. We'll make sure that you've got that, and that'll be available to you to join in as a family or just individually. But again, I think there's value in also seeing the college in person. So we're facilitating those in a spaced environment in our Welcome Center. These are good opportunities to get on campus, to see the cadets in this environment, to see Charleston, understand that Charleston is where these high-speed Teslas plug in. This is where general leave occurs. Charleston's an amazing city, and our cadets make great use of this. Even in the COVID, they're smart about it, but you have opportunity to get on boats and enjoy all the things that are on offer downtown and otherwise. So it's a key part of understanding what the Citadel offers, because you work your tail off Sunday to Friday to pursue these things, and you have opportunity to plug in. Before we close tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about the culmination of these things. You're in a window now where you're about 18 months out from a very special moment for our freshman cadets. It's called Recognition Day. All the cadets that you saw on the panel tonight experienced this 3.5 years ago. And this is a very special moment where you culminate the hard work you have to put in as a freshman. Our freshmen are grinding away every day, and they have dreams about Recognition Day. That takes place late in the spring. But I want you to contemplate this idea of where you're going to be in 18 months. We hope that the right people are going to be coming to the Citadel in our grouping here. But this is something for you to consider. So I want you to see these cadets, and I want you to think about this is you in 18 months. Roll.
At this time, we'd like to thank all of our panelists for your efforts and your joining us this evening. Thank you for all of our audience and our guests for joining us and sticking with us through the 90-minute program. Please follow this QR code and make sure that your address and everything is correct so that we can make sure that you receive these. As we said, we'll be mailing these out first week of November. And we look forward to seeing your applications and continuing to field your questions and answers here at admissions. Have a great night.